Hi everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So before we jump into today's vlog, I've got to start with a bit of an apology. Unfortunately, I didn't realise until I got back to edit the vlog that a lot of my audio and pieces to camera was really poor. Unfortunately, what happened is, and I wasn't aware of it when I was out in the field, is that the actual cable for my lavalier mic had actually broken, and because of that and because of the loose connection, it was very crackly audio and pieces to the camera. And some parts worked and some parts didn't, so I've had to cut out a fair bit of the pieces to the camera and explanations about the compositions that I've captured on that vlog. However, I've fixed it now and got myself a different audio setup that I'll be using from now on, and hopefully we'll sort of maybe do a review of that in a few weeks' time. But it's one of those things, unfortunately, you don't really know until you obviously get back to load up all of the videos onto the computer and obviously then start processing it and putting it all together. So yeah, just one of those things that happened when I was out in the field. But anyway, today's vlog is a really interesting vlog, and let's jump into it now. On today's vlog, I go out to Wat Tyler Country Park to make the most of the opportunity to shoot in between rain showers that we've been having recently with the weather. And the weather conditions for today was really great because we had some great cloud detail and the sun was shining as well. Due to the weather conditions, it led me to believe that I would be best off to take some images in black and white. And as I was walking around, I came across the Marsh area here and decided on taking up one of the compositions of this pool. The pool led me to sort of think about a composition to keep a little bit lower down, the horizon line a little bit lower down, because having it at head height would have not necessarily emphasised as much detail in the reflections that I was getting within the pool. So that's a good key to note, is to think about changing the height of your camera so that you're able to then maximise the information in the foreground. As I set up my camera, I had the settings of f11, ISO 100 and about 125th of a second shutter speed. So for my next composition, I've literally sort of come back, probably about 40, 50 centimeters or so from where I was originally. And what I've then just done is taken a Pano shot with the camera set up in landscape orientation and panning across the image, taking about sort of 4 or 5 images, and yeah, working out to be really quite good. I've never taken a Pano shot in with a camera in landscape orientation, so that's a first for me, and hopefully it'll work out quite well. But yeah, I think it's working out really quite nice, trying to get sort of the curve of the foreground as well with this pull, which is acting out really quite nicely as a sort of a foreground interest. Again, keeping the camera on f11, ISO 100, 125th of a second exposure as well, and just obviously leveling the camera each time as I take the image, and yeah, hopefully working out to be a good image. So for my next composition, I've got a really abstract image set up here. So I've been considering one of these compositions for a long time, but never actually found the right pylon to actually do the composition. So what I've got here is the camera angled straight up, looking obviously as the converging lines of the electricity pylon here. So it's working out to be one of those sort of interesting abstract images that either you're going to love it or you're absolutely going to hate it, and please feel free to leave that comment down below about the image. But I've got the camera set up here on 18mm, f11, ISO 100, and again 125th of a second exposure, just so I can obviously balance that image, trying to get the vanishing point of the pylon right in the middle of the image, which is quite tricky to do with obviously the articulating screen on the Canon 77D working out to really sort of come into its own, particularly for this type of composition, and also making sure that I've got the 2-second timer, so while I'm actually composing the image, can obviously line it all up, press obviously the shutter button, move out the way so I'm not actually in the image at all, and then obviously then take that image. So yeah, working out to be really quite interesting. Feel free to leave a comment about it. Yeah, I've hopefully lined up the 4 sort of main sort of legs of the pylon into the corners, but probably not necessarily got it spot on. But yeah, quite an interesting one to come across, and yeah, not often can you actually get to a pylon and actually get underneath it to then obviously shoot straight up to take that image. But yeah, interesting, but feel free to leave a comment whether or not you love it or hate it. again, unfortunately, my audio failed when I was explaining about my compositions for this final image that I was able to take. I made it down to the creek that's here at Wat Tyler Park to capture a composition that I have done on my previous visit. I decided to have a look at the composition both in portrait orientation and also landscape orientation. And I think what I was able to find is a real gain by changing the composition between both portrait and landscape orientations. And again, it really sort of shows to think about one composition in landscape, but then maybe see if it works again in portrait or vice versa. And hopefully that tip will help you sort of develop your own photographic skills and your own photographic eye. Detail in the clouds. So yeah, hopefully working out to be quite an interesting image in both landscape and portrait orientation. And that's again another key thing to think about, is that don't always keep the camera in landscape or portrait, either or. Swap them around, because you really do sort of change the composition quite a lot by just rotating between either portrait or landscape. And yeah, it works out to be quite an interesting images sometimes. So that concludes my vlog over here at Wat Tyler Country Park. It's yeah, a really interesting location. I enjoyed it the first time I came here to do one of my first vlogs, as I mentioned at the beginning of this vlog, and I've enjoyed it again today. Hopefully taking a few other compositions. I know I took this one before as well, but yeah, it's an interesting location. It's very close to home, and yeah, easy to sort of pop out when the weather conditions allow it, that we've got that sort of window of opportunity between rain showers. Coming out to grab those images will work out hopefully quite well. As normal, please leave us a comment, as I really do enjoy those comments and that sort of interaction with obviously my photography and how you felt I've taken the images. Please obviously feel free to leave any comments, positive and negative, about how I wish to improve my photography, because that's all about how I want to grow as a photographer, is having that sort of feedback. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thanks to everyone for watching. Until next time, take care.